Hello, my name is Michael Chulak. There are many factors that go into the valuation of a property management company by a buyer. Some are objective and some are subjective. The subjective part of the evaluation is generally based upon the buyer's preferences, their experience in managing various types of properties, and their knowledge. For example, the laws that apply to homeowner associations are unique and only apply to homeowner associations. Landlord-tenant laws that apply to residential properties are unique. They do not apply to other types of properties. And landlord-tenant laws that apply to commercial properties are unique and do not apply to other types of properties. Landlord-tenant laws are very different when it comes to residential properties versus commercial properties. They are not identical. Since every potential buyer's knowledge and experience is different, they are going to prefer certain types of managed accounts over others. Their preferences will always affect the valuation of any property management portfolio. The objective part of the evaluation can be broken down into those factors that apply to buyers overall and to those factors that apply to each type of property. The factors that most buyers will consider overall are as follows. Number one, the number of managed accounts and the revenues generated by each of those accounts. The length of time the seller has managed each property is very important. The termination provisions are very important, meaning can the accounts be terminated on 30 days notice, 60 days notice, 90 days notice, or are the management accounts written for a longer period of time, such as a 1 year period of time? The size of the accounts is very important. For example, large accounts are generally more profitable than smaller accounts, but the loss of a larger account is much more harmful than the potential loss of a small account. Are the management accounts widely distributed among many clients, or are they concentrated? For example, let's say a management company that is attempting to sell their business, they have 15 apartment accounts. Are those 15 accounts owned by 15 different clients, or are they owned by 3 clients? That makes a huge difference to the buyer because it affects the risk that they are buying. The location of the managed accounts is very important. Are they close to the office? Are they far away from the office? Are they in rent-controlled areas? Are they in areas where there is a high level of crime, where it's necessary for the owner to take special precautions? How many client meetings are required? I'm referring to in-person client meetings. This will be determined generally by the management agreements. Are these meetings required to be on site, or are they required to be in the manager's office? If on site means 30 miles away, this affects the cost of doing business. Do the management contracts that are commercial in nature include leasing and leasing commissions, or is leasing handled by an outside company? This, of course, affects the value and profitability of those accounts. Do the management contracts call for rental homes to be leased by the owner of the management company or its staff, where additional fees can be earned, or again, is an outside firm being utilized? The number of employees that the buyer is going to have to bring on board in order to handle a new management company acquisition is very important. It's going to have an impact on the cost of doing business. And whether or not key staff members are going to stay or leave is also a very important factor. Another important factor is maintenance. Is maintenance handled in-house, where the management company earns additional money, or is it handled by third-party vendors and contractors, where there is not an opportunity to earn additional money? Another factor is, will the buyer of the management company be acquiring any special talent or licenses or designations? If the buyer is acquiring a company where staff has important designations or licenses that are required, this has added value to the buyer. Additional factors that apply to homeowner associations include: are the extra fees earned for the handling of escrows, refinance escrows, and assessment collections included in the management agreement, or is a third party handling those matters where the management company does not earn these fees over and above the base management fee? Does the buyer have the in-house expertise to handle escrows and collections? That's an important factor. Who receives the late fees is also an important factor. In the business of managing homeowner associations, very often the management company will collect the late fees, but that is not always the case. So whether the management company or the association client keeps the late fees is an important factor. The mix of properties is important, meaning, are the properties stacked condominiums, are they townhomes, or are they planned development homes? This is important because the management of stacked units takes much more time than the other types of properties. Planned development homes that are detached take the least amount of time. Additional factors to be included that apply to apartments include: do the buildings have on-site managers? In California, if you have a building of 16 units or more, an on-site manager is required. If it's a smaller building, the building may or may not have an on-site manager. So whether there is an on-site manager or not, paid by the owner of the property is an important factor. And likewise, their duties and responsibilities is an important factor. For example, will the on-site manager be available to show vacancies, or will someone from the management company's staff be required to go to the property to show vacancies? This is a very big factor. How many apartment buildings are located in sanctuary cities where the buildings tend to be greatly overpopulated is a factor. Units that are overpopulated tend to cause more problems and require additional time on the part of the management company. How many of the buildings are located in rent-controlled areas? And of course, rent control varies from city to city. Some rent-controlled areas are oppressive, but not too terrible. Some are very difficult for management companies and owners to deal with and cause much higher expense levels on the part of the management company. Also, if you have rent-controlled buildings, these buildings tend not to have the cash flow that is required to maintain a building in a high level of repair. And this causes more complaints and higher levels of overhead on the part of the management company in dealing with the constant complaints that come from these rent-controlled buildings. The lists that I've provided are only partial lists because businesses are evaluated differently by each particular buyer. Obviously, the terms of the sale are also a very important factor. A cash sale brings the lowest price. A sale based upon a reasonable down payment and seller financing brings the next highest price. But the price that is involved with the buyer paying fees to the seller based upon the actual receipt of money each and every month really results in the highest price to the seller of the business. Hopefully, what I have provided to you in this video will be of assistance to each and every potential buyer and seller of a property management company. Again, my name is Michael Chulak. I am the owner and the broker for Pacific Business Advisors, which represents sellers and buyers of businesses. We've been in business since 1987. I have also practiced law for more than 22 years in California. I can be reached at area code 818-991-9019 or 818-991-5200. Thank you for listening.